Hello, this is a Neil Squire Society presentation on post-secondary funding options. This presentation looks at Canadian national funding resources that are available to people with disabilities to assist them in funding post-secondary education. So this presentation is going to give you an overview of some different funding options that are available and some disability-specific grants and scholarships. You should be aware that there are other funding resources out there at the provincial and often at the community level. However, these are resources that should apply to any Canadian with a physical disability. So a quick definition for you here. There's a difference between loans and grants, bursaries, and scholarships. So a lot of what I'm going to show you here are grants, bursaries, and scholarships. So that's money you are given for education. You do not have to repay this money. Whereas a loan, you often have to repay that amount. This can be provided by governments, by schools, or by other organizations, groups, or local institutions. So I'm going to start by showing you a couple Canadian national grant opportunities. First off is the Canadian Study Grant. If you are a person with a disability enrolled in part-time studies, you can access the Canadian Study Grant through the Disability Office at the university. It provides you $2,000 per year, and this money can be used for tuition, books, and other education-related expenses. However, note that this is only available when you enroll at public post-secondary schools, not private institutions. So you may wish to talk with your facilitator about what education options are open for you that provide the programming you're looking for at a public post-secondary. So this is $2,000 per year. You can access this multiple years. The Canadian Access Grant, also sometimes called the Canadian Study Grant for Accommodations, provides up to $8,000 per year. Again, you would access this funding through the Disability Services Office at a public post-secondary. This can help pay for education-related costs associated with your disability. So the cost for tutors or note takers, for disability-specific assistance such as attendant care, oral or sign interpreters, learning disability assistance. I've even known people that have had this help modify vehicles so they could travel to and from university. To access the Canada Study Grant and Accommodation Grant, you need to be enrolled and accepted at a public post-secondary institution in Canada. So you do enroll for school first, and then you apply for this funding next. As part of applying for this funding, you'd work with the Centre for Students with Disabilities, and they would assist you in the application forms that need to be completed. You do need to show that you are a student with a disability. So you do need to prove disability, but it's not as onerous as some other funding programs in that regard. Another great funding option is the Opportunities Fund. It can cover a wide variety of costs, including the program costs, books, living expenses as well. So you can apply through the Opportunities Fund and get quite an inclusive package to cover all your expenses while you're pursuing education. Now the application process is quite onerous. It's quite a large application, but much of the work that you would do for that application is similar to the work that you've been doing here at the Neil Squire Society. A lot of labor market research, proving that there'll be jobs in that area, proving that the earnings will sustain you. So the work that you have to do for the Opportunities Fund is very similar to the work you've been doing here in the Employability Program. Now you may need to wait for approval. Quite often the funding for this program is tapped out as it is so inclusive. So once you submit your application, if you get approved, you may have to wait a while until the money becomes available for you to enroll. So this is more of a long-term game plan. This program typically also funds 1 year or less programs and is targeted on finding education opportunities that help you return to the labor market. There are some other federal grants that you should research and be aware of depending on your particular situation. All those above mentioned programs are for people with disabilities in Canada. However, there is granting programs available for students with dependents, so if you have children, grants for students that are low income, and grants for Aboriginals. Other options you may wish to pursue is looking at scholarship money. Scholarships are quite often based on academic merit, but not always the case. Sometimes they're looking for specific profiles of people to assist in pursuing education. And these can come from a wide variety of sources. It can come from different community groups, from trust funds, from businesses, from the universities themselves, from unions. So there's a wide variety of people, groups, and organizations that are willing to assist people in pursuing education. Now that can involve a lot of research and kind of asking around to find out what options are out there for you. One tool that you may wish to investigate is the Student Awards website, where you build a profile about who you are and it matches you to different scholarship opportunities that you may qualify for. So that's a good starting point if you wish to look at scholarships to help you pay for education. Last but not least is student loans. So while the other things I talked about were granting programs, which provide you money that you do not have to repay, loans are things that you do have to repay. However, this may be something that you need to pursue to ensure that you can cover your costs of university. So there's a Canada Student Loans Program that you could qualify for, and it works very similar to those granting programs I talked about earlier, where you apply for the institution first, you get accepted, and then you can apply for loans. Many provinces and territories also have student loan programs, and some of them roll in the federal Canada Student Loans Program into one provincial initiative. So that's something you should look at, in particular in your province or territory. And this concludes our presentation on granting and funding options for students with disabilities in Canada. If you have any questions, please ask your assigned facilitator.